you guys doing?
Good, good.
Good.
I'm so happy to see you.
Nice to see you too.
Every week I look forward to this. This is like the highlight of my week, I gotta say. Now we're old friends. We're coming up to our 100th episode
Yeah, next week.
2-year
next
anniversary.
week. Oh my
Wow.
gosh.
And our
And
2-year anniversary. It's a double festivity thing.
I can't believe it. 2 years, really.
I know. This is taking forever.
It's amazing. It's just
Believe
amazing.
it or not, and we still haven't finished all our paintings.
I know. We're so slow.
Some of us.
Well,
Sometimes the shipping is slow too. So
shipping and COVID and there were things that were happening. Real life
the
intervened in
things.
places, so
moving.
moving,
Sorry about that, folks.
all that stuff. All that stuff.
But I made sure I protected it very well while I was moving.
Yeah.
Although it got misplaced for a short time because I protected it so well.
Wait,
These things happen.
by the shipper or by you?
By me.
Oh no.
Oops.
So it is hard to find things sometimes, and sometimes it's hard to find the gallery that you want to go to. You guys have all dealt with some higher end or high end galleries and shows and fairs, and I know last time we spoke about kind of more community and grassroots kinds of situations. I guess it's really a different model if you're going to go into a commercial gallery with, commercial that way of thinking about artwork. It's a different. It's not a different aesthetic, but there's something different about it. It's a whole different world, actually. And how do you do it? What do you do? How do you get there? Who do you talk to? You have to pay?
Some you do have to pay.
Oh, that was a very painful. Oh, sometimes you do. Yeah.
It depends. It depends, right?
Yeah.
I mean, some applications you have to pay for. Some applications you do for free. But application is the word here. Most of the time, you apply.
Yeah,
And
you
even
have
if
your...
you
go ahead.
when you do have a show, when you do have a show, sometimes you have to help out with the cost of refreshments and advertising and stuff like that. So even when you're not paying the rent all the time in it, there will often be a cost for refreshments.
Yeah. Even with a commercial gallery, oftentimes they will ask you for at least a little bit of a help with that. I usually split it 50-50 for just the refreshments. If there's more sales, then sometimes they will be a little bit more lenient. But as the sales are 50-50, usually we have the expenses be 50-50 as well.
Wow, I never expected that.
Yeah,
I thought they're like in the entertainment business. They're going to invite you into their place, and it's like a party, and everyone comes over, and that's where you get your wine and your cheese, and you're probably a grape or something like that. You're saying that's not the case. It's you're throwing the party.
Yes.
Oh my.
Well, it depends.
And sometimes their champagne sucks.
I also know galleries that are sponsored. For example, I know a gallery in downtown Montreal that I go to, and they are sponsored by a local distillery. So they serve the alcohol from the local distillery.
Yeah.
And they have sponsorship. So it really depends on, it's different for every gallery.
Yeah. And if you have a financial barrier like myself, and many people do, what you do is you look for calls for submission. And you look for calls for submission from organizations or galleries that you want to be in, not just any. So there have been several calls for submission in the last year from commercial galleries that then when they accept you to be into this group show, then they want to charge you a fee as well. Now, the fee may not be that high, but that's one of the models that has been cropping up lately, is that if you, and it's actually, you know what, it's not that much of a barrier if you want to spend 200, 300, whatever, and you've been juried into this group show. You know what? If you sell your painting, you probably get it back, right?
Mm.
So it's about where are the barriers and which ones. So there are those types of calls for submission, but there's also group calls for submission by arts organizations.
Okay, wait, before we get to the arts organizations, Rose, this idea like there's a group that you want to get into, and they're going to have the group show, and choose the ones you want to get into. That was the thing that was like, what are you talking about? How does that work? Like, how do you
Well,
find that?
I've been
You go on the
following
internet and say, I want a show to get into. I mean, what do you
I've
say?
been following a couple galleries in Montreal because I would like to show my work in where I come from, where I came from. You know, I have roots there, and I mean the beginnings of this work started in Quebec for me, right? So I'd like to. So I've been following, trying to find, well, which galleries look good and what are they showing, and do I resonate with what they're showing? And then, oh, they have a call for submissions, or they have a call sometimes at this time of year. A lot of galleries will say, well, we'll have open call for new artists, submit your work. So then I do that because I've been watching the gallery for a while, and I think, oh, I would like to have my work amongst those other artists in that place because they're showing something that I'm relating to.
Yeah, and it's really important what Rose is saying is it is very important to consider, to do your research, to look into the galleries that are in the area where you want to be at, look at them and critically look at the work that they carry, and read their mandate and look at whether you feel your artwork would fit with them. Because there is absolutely, it might be a disappointment if they say no to you, but you always have to keep in mind that there is no freaking use of your artwork being in a place where it won't sell. Yeah. Then it might as well be in storage.
Resonate. Yeah, it needs to resonate with the people who are going in and out of that gallery.
Yeah, and the gallery will know best what will resonate with their clients. So it's not a matter of them not liking you. It has nothing to do with the quality of your work. It has everything to do with their client base and what their clients like.
Yeah. Exactly. And I actually got a response, and it was like, well, we're having a couple group shows. It costs this to get into this one, costs this to get into that one. And I was considering going into the summer one because it wasn't that much. And, you know, what they're showing, I think it would look okay beside what I have, if you know what I mean. Like, I don't want it to either stand like a sore thumb and go, what's that on the wall, right? Or
that's not the kind of difference you want to project on the wall, right?
Yeah,
you want to project some kind of difference and differentiation.
What kind of peers do I want my artwork hanging out with?
Yes. Well,
No
and then
one.
if you go
if
you go a step up from, or a step sideways, I should say, from your galleries, because you do your galleries you get into by doing your research. There's also a bunch of art fairs out there, and that also requires research. That requires you to figure out. There's a whole range. There's smaller outdoor ones and smaller indoor ones, like arts and crafts shows, and all the way up to like the big shows that happen, the Armory Show in New York, or Art Basel or TEFAF, or
Denise,
any of
are those usually juried?
Yes. Okay. Yes, yeah. And many of the big ones will be gallery only shows. Like there's one Art Toronto here in Toronto every year. That's a gallery only show. So you'll have to find the ones that that allow artists to enter. Usually the outdoor shows will do that. Artist Project in Toronto is an example that will do that as well. Art Expo New York, where I'm exhibiting in April, will also allow individual artists to apply. And again, that's an application process. So you go to their website, you do your research. Again, you talk to the people that have been at that show before. You look at the people that have exhibited there in the past. You read up on the show. How long has it been out there? You don't want to be in a show maybe that's only been going for a year, because it might not be so good. Make sure you talk to the people that have done the show before. What was their experience like? How was the organization? That kind of things. And then you do your application. Sometimes you pay $35 for an application fee. Sometimes it's free. And it involves usually sending in a selection of your work, usually 10 to 15 images, and your
Now,
CV
these kinds of exhibitions or expositions is probably the more correct word.
Yeah.
You have to actually be there for the time, like art fairs, art expos. So that's something else to consider in your investment of showing.
Yeah.
I took part in a weird online version of that this year. That was basically required a membership, and then it was like a $5 American a month membership fee. And I entered it because of the curators who were on the jury for that. And it was called it's the Found Work Prize. And it's a pretty prestigious prize.
The Found Work?
The Found Work Art Prize.
Oh, yeah. Found Work.
Okay. Found Work Art Prize. And it's pretty great award that they give you. But I was interested because one of the jurors was somebody that I'm familiar with, working with another artist that I know personally, and a gallery in New York. So I just wanted my work to pass in front of these people. I really didn't think I was going to win the prize, because I've seen the former winners and they're very quite, what are those, like conceptual, like they usually go for the very conceptual stuff where people have a lot of money and they're showing in these very prestigious places. But I wanted my work in front of these type of people, if you know what I mean. I wanted to hang out in the same place. And I was able to afford basically $4.95 a month for a couple of months. So there are online virtual versions of the same type of thing that Denise is talking about. But again, you really have to do your homework, because these are the type of things that artists are getting scam emails and scam messages about.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of galleries too, a lot of vanity galleries that will charge you out of the wazoo for printing fees and whatever. It's not worth it. You have to really be careful.
So to get into one of these galleries, how could we sort of help some less experienced or some newer artists? So my suggestions is always to have maybe a booklet, maybe something really nice, like something printed, or you need to sort of think about your application of how you can best show off your work. I actually ended up with an exhibition in another gallery through an artist introducing me to that gallery.
Yeah, that's actually what you're saying there. I think is the most important part of getting into galleries, is build your community and talk to other artists, go to other people's shows,
and relationships, and
go see the shows, go visit those galleries that you want to be in, go visit them, go be supportive,
support them.
Support them, be there, be a body on their opening nights, talk
Laura,
to them.
You were showing in Abu Dhabi or Dubai, I can't remember. And how did you get that? Because was it a relationship that you had, or that you developed, or
I made the application, just the application.
What about when you showed in Spain? How did you do that?
In Spain, I made various exhibition through the embassy, Italian embassy, and through the some places that I knew that in the old part of Barcelona where I could exhibit, because I knew the places, the person, the owners of the galleries, and yes. Also because when I was in Abu Dhabi was 7 years ago, but in Barcelona was when I started was 15 years ago. So it was different from now. Now it's much easier online to find online. 15 years ago it was
not so much
following people.
But still, community is very important, because when I went to Japan,
like working
the very first exhibition that I did there was sort of from an international center. So it was a very like community driven thing of a group of international artists that had just started this in the international center. And from that one show, that was literally, we were exhibiting on pegboards, our work. And from that show, I got a show in a museum in Japan. I got a show in 2 different galleries. I got a show in a local, like a big furniture store. So a lot of, basically all the things I did while I was in Japan came from that one show that I did.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
I would echo the same thing, you know, because I went to I got a research grant to go to Trinidad to just do research. I didn't have to even make any art for the Arts Council. And then when I was there, part of my mandate was to do some networking in the arts community. And that's what I did. I went to a bunch of shows, and I went to the Art Society, and I joined the Art Society, and I met a bunch of people. And literally that is how I end up several years later having a solo shows planned for this April in a lovely gallery, a commercial gallery down there. And I didn't know those people beforehand.
Even though you have family down there, and
no, none of my family were in the art world.
Came from a whole different.
It came from me going and supporting the different galleries and meeting artists and talking to them and attending art talks and attending life drawing and getting to know people.
Getting to know people, getting to know you. Yeah.
Just like we've been getting to know each other
over the past 2 years. Come back next week. We've got our 100th episode. Awesome. And a special event, something never done before, probably in the history of the world. Hello. And here we are. And, you know, we met online and we're friends, and things can happen. You know, that 15 years that Laura was talking about. Yeah, that's a long time ago, relatively speaking, to how we can do things now.
Yeah,
it's a different way, but it's still the relationships. So we're going to come. I'm assuming we're going to come back together again next week, and
we have something special planned.
Yeah, something special planned. I just said that. Oh my gosh. So okay, I won't miss it. You don't miss it. We'll be together. Yay! Thanks, guys.
Woo! Yay!
Bye.